Thank you so much for joining. Today's video, I am going to share with you about that commercial property valuation. This is going to be a very interesting one because you would be able to understand how the commercial property valuation works and what are the things that you need to do when you are purchasing a commercial property and how this valuation is going to help. So let's dive into it. Okay, so first of all, if you buying or if you already bought residential property, you know that in residential property when you buy, you put a subject to building and pest inspection, subject to finance, and the bank is actually going to do the valuation, right? Once you apply for the loan, bank will do the valuation. The way the bank does the valuation is kind of a comparison, which is called sometimes called desktop valuation. Desktop valuation is like saying bank is going to quickly check if you are taking 80% loan, let's say 80% LVR, and the contract price, let's say right now $1 million. That means you are taking $800,000 loan and $200,000 is from your own pocket. So all right, so that 800,000 the bank will check, okay, in that area by quick desktop valuation means in their computer going to plug in that address and see in the nearby area similar house, 4 bedroom 2 bathroom house, the brick style house that you are buying, which is like a 30 years old house. What are the in that vicinity the last 3 months, how many properties got sold and what's the price? And let's say all this is around the range of $1 million. So in about 5 minutes time, bank will say, yeah, fine, the valuation is successful, means valuation is done, and then you will get loan will be approved. Congratulations. Yay! That is the way residential property valuation happens, unless bank sees that there is a potential problem. The most of the properties getting sold is around 800,000, but you are buying $1 million, so you are also taking 800,000. Then bank might send what you call that valuer to see and inspect the property and then come up that why this property is going to become 1 million. And this bank's valuer then eventually will say, no, it is not. In that case, the bank will not lend you, or they might say, oh, this is because of the special feature, and they might lend you. That might happen as well. So commercial property valuation is certainly different. First of all, when you buy a commercial property, generally speaking, that you will be taking about 70% loan, because most banks is going to lend you 70%, 80 or 90% is not possible. That means for the same $1 million property, you would be taking 700,000 from the bank and 300,000 from your pocket or from other equity that you will be using. So literally bank needs to see that the value of that property is 1 million or even 900,000 or even 800,000, and bank is perhaps will be saying okay to lend. But that is the problem here, because bank cannot quickly check through desktop that okay, what is the value of the nearby areas, what the property is getting sold, because in commercial property it is not apple to apple comparison. It's not your next door neighbor is also kind of a similar property, or even within a 1 kilometer you might find similar property, very few, and few of them probably not been sold as well. So bank needs to do is that almost every time they need to send a valuer who will go and inspect the property. And basically pretty much what I'm saying is that there is no desktop valuation concept in commercial property, because it is very difficult to do the desktop valuation. We don't know, because every property is its own unique. Now what happens is that when you buy a commercial property, you apply for a loan, and yes, based on your circumstances, let's say it's a full doc loan, and bank said fine, yes, it is approved based on your income and all, we are happy to lend you if the property price is $1 million. Then they put subject to valuation. So that means although the loan is approved, the valuation has to be approved as well in order to say bank yes. Now this valuation, it takes, particularly in commercial property, it might take about 2-3, sometimes about a month. Why? Because this valuation, these are the companies that mostly the banks work with, and these companies, the local valuer are kind of attached to these companies, and they go and they inspect, and then there is some compliance checks and all sort of things that they need to do, because these are also regulated, these companies also regulated, the valuers, and we need to make sure that what they're valuing is justifiable. Which is why if you buy a commercial property, and today let's say that property again $1 million, 700,000 that you are taking loan, and with the vendor. Let's say you are already working with saying that 30 days finance, and once in the 30 days it is very difficult to get that valuation done if you wait for the bank to do the valuation. Let me go with the timeline. Let's say today you sign the contract and then you applied for the bank loan, and after 2 weeks your loan is approved, but then with the condition of subject to valuation. Then bank is going to engage the valuer, and the valuer is going to go and send the report by the time this 4 weeks is over. Now either you can say that your bank will saying that yeah, loan is approved if you waive off your finance, but then the valuation does not stack up, then you will be stuck because you said that yeah, my finance is approved but the valuation is not coming. And this is one of the major problem in today's commercial property purchase. Now here is something I can give you as a trick that you can use, which will actually help you to minimize this. What you can do, first of all, as soon as you apply for the loan and then bank is sort of indicating that yeah, it looks good and you'll be getting this, then your first question would be to asking the bank, okay, who are the valuer in your panel? Give me top 3 valuer details. The bank, based on the asset, where you are buying, which bank it is, they have the panel valuers, and these valuers is going to be pretty much competitive. And then you choose one of those valuers and engage them separately. Say that hey, I am actually taking the loan from this bank. Yes, bank has not started that valuation, but I would like to initiate that and I would pay for it. Remember, the valuation, most of the time the cost is paid by the purchaser, not the bank. They will give some waiver but not completely. So in that case, what you will do, that you will talk to the valuer and then start that process. By the time the finance clause that will be coming, so they will do that valuation, and they also mentioned that it is for the bank, so they need to give that valuation report based on the bank's criteria and all. So rather than waiting for the bank's approval and then kickstart the process through the bank, what you are doing, that you are starting it on pretty much the first week of your loan application, once you know that you would be buying, because the basic checks needs to be good so that you're not wasting that money. Then what's happening is, there by the time the loan is going to be it is going to be approved subject to valuation, you have already got the valuation report, which will give it to the bank. Bank will say that that's fine, and bank might probably ask that valuer again to submit that report to their portal or kind of things. But eventually you are fast tracking the process in a way that once your loan is approved subject to valuation, within couple of days the loan is completely approved. And this still needs to be within that 30 days, so that you can tell your vendor or through which you are buying that property that yeah, my loan is approved, because for sure the loan is going with this valuation. It has 2 purposes. Not only the bank valuation, you also get to know about the current value of that property prior to finishing your due diligence or prior to finishing your finance clause. Otherwise, if you rely on the bank and bank giving you only 70%, so even though the valuation come little less, they will still say yeah, fine, go for it, and it is approved. But you need to know that what is the independent valuers or these valuers current value for that property. So bank's methodology is, as long as they can cover 70 or 80% of the loan, assuming you are taking 70% LVR, they might be saying okay to lend you, because their criteria would be different. On the other side, you need to get to this valuation report, so that if it is a $1 million property, the valuation is not coming as like 900,000 or 850,000, as opposed to you'd rather have like a 1 million, very close to $1 million, then you would be happy and you would be satisfied that yeah, the property that I'm buying is it making sense. And this is how the understanding valuation in commercial property is a little bit tricky and little bit hopefully you now understand that what's the things that can be done and that you can do, rather than completely relying on the bank's valuation. It's the same strategy, but by pushing it or taking a little bit of risk before, in terms of you need to pay that valuation fees, you are actually be 100% sure in the due diligence process that the valuation will stack up. I hope you find this video about commercial property valuation helpful. Thank you so much for watching.